At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart, you're
Observations TFR, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another great episode of #ObservationsTFR. What is it? Episode 88. Remember 88? No need to hesitate. Remember those times? Stetsasonics. Some people don't like the way Sally Wall. Remember that? Sally. Remember that? Remember that time? Yeah, but anyway, do we have a great show for you today? Tasty Tuesday, Undoubtable Facts Part 2. That's right, Undoubtable Facts Part 2. We have a jam-packed show for you today. Smash the share button, smash the like button. Let people know that we are on. We want to shout out to everybody listening to us and watching us on Vimeo, FB, on You Found the Spot, on Crayzon Deeyon page, and of course on YouTube, on the Film Review Live channel, and the Spot, hashtag You Found the Spot channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to both of those channels because they are simulcasting at the same time, right? All right, let's get started. Before we go any further, let me introduce you to my special guest host, my sister Tonya M. Congress. And as usual, how are you feeling this morning?
I am feeling wonderful. I'm 2 more pounds down today. So that makes, what's today? It's Tuesday. So I say since Saturday, that makes 4 pounds. That might not mean a lot to some of y'all, but it's a lot to me. Every pound counts. I'm on a 20-week, I'm going to say, I'll give it 25 weeks. But I'm on a 25-week goal to lose 70 pounds. You heard what I said. 25-week goal to lose 70 pounds. So I'm moving at a good momentum right now. Understand that when you have larger amounts of weight to lose, your first weight losses also are always going to be, your first 10 to 20 pounds are always going to be water. So don't get discouraged when the water goes real fast and then you start breaking down to 1 pound here, 2 pounds here. But every couple of days, you should be losing a couple of pounds if you incorporate the right foods and the right nutritional supplements. And we'll be getting on that at some other time. This morning, I have an orange, a navel orange here in my bowl. And here I have my, this is called Lasso Tea, and this is part of the nutritional portion of what I am doing. Lasso Tea is packed with nutrients and it aids in weight loss as it has other herbal properties in it. And then I have my cup of coffee here, which is also a special kind of coffee that has herbal supplements in it as well. So I'm attacking this full force, full frontal, and I'm ready to go today. I'm packed with energy today, just like I was yesterday. The sun is out here in Cleveland, Ohio. We had quite a snowfall the last couple of days, but to me it doesn't matter because I don't have to go out in it. But anyway, how you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing as well as can be expected. We are in the middle of a pandemic. Now listen, it's either 2 ways that you would go in this pandemic being in a bubble. Either you're gonna go up or you're gonna go down. Listen, we told you about the intermediate diet, fasting, not dieting, fasting that we do. Sted-Fast-Ing is what we call it over here at the Spot, right? And I went from a 42. Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially in a 38 waist. I haven't seen a 38 waist since I was 29 years old. Just got the jeans last evening. Came home.
Yeah.
Waited until this morning, and then I slid them on, and I'm walking around. I said, I haven't seen this since my heyday. If I get to a 36, I might look like a spring chicken or something. I don't know about that, right? I don't know about wanting to be a spring chicken, but, you know, as you know, we have our Sted-Fast-Ing t-shirt out, right? Our Sted-Fast-Ing t-shirt, right? And you know what the meaning of Sted-Fast-Ing is, and if you don't, we're going to run it down to you real quick because we have it right at the top of our page, right? The meaning: staying steadfast to your goals, humbling yourself to kneel and pray while preparing your body for the journey ahead, right? For the journey ahead. And the t-shirt reads on a variant, right? Let me bring it up here, if I can bring it up real fast, right here, and we'll read it to you real quick. Okay, they said that there is okay, can't read it real quickly, but that is the purpose of Sted-Fast-Ing. Take your QR code. Take your phone with your QR scanner. Scan the QR code. It takes you straight over to our fundraising page. Go there. Order the t-shirt. We appreciate you as we keep it going, right? Also, before we get started, we must say that we are in the battle and the war to prevent this virus from spreading. So of course we have our brand of the spot mask, right? So you take your QR scanner on your PayPal account, right? Your QR scanner on your PayPal account and scan on there, and it takes you straight to the order form. You're able to order your mask. You see what the price is. Get it to you. We'll get it to you in 10 business days. Make sure that you include your name and your shipping address, right? Make sure you do that. Okay, so what is the topic for today? What is the topic for today? Let's get going. The topic is Tasty Tuesday, Undoubtable Facts 2. Tasty Tuesday, Undoubtable Facts 2. We bring new vegan recipes during this episode of Observations TFR while taking a look at some undoubtable facts. The phone lines are open too, 213-943-3358 on Tasty Tuesdays. We appreciate you being with us, appreciating everybody that is watching us on all the various platforms. Make sure that you like, share, follow, subscribe right where you're at so that we can keep on going, right? We appreciate you. So, as we do, we always start out with memes to warm up the discussion. And we have, unfortunately, another meme that has to speak to a person passing who brought a lot of enjoyable entertainment to us before they passed, and we're talking about Mark Wilmore. Simpsons and In Living Color writer Mark Wilmore passes away from COVID-19. Now, you may not know him straight out unless you watch the documentary on The Simpsons or the documentary on In Living Color. You may know his more famous brother, Larry Wilmore. He had the Larry Wilmore Show. He also did the last roast of President Obama, and he used the N-word, and the Republican Party was just so up in arms upper arms. She used the N word, you know. But Larry Wilmore is very successful. Both brothers are very successful. Unfortunately, Mark Wilmore fell victim to this virus due to other health complications. So prayers and condolences go up for his family and friends. This information brought to you by our friends over at Hollywood Unlocked, right? Let's keep moving here. Speaking favorably of the dead, and speaking on who should portray Cicely Tyson. The person who wrote this meme said she better be the only person they get called for the Cicely Tyson movie. The only person get called for the Cicely Tyson movie. They left a couple of words out, but that's all right. You get the point. Now, Cicely Tyson was a unique looking person, right? And this person right here, and I am drawing a blank, and I just had it, but I am drawing
Kimberly
a blank
Elise.
on it.
Kimberly
Elise. That's right. When Kimberly Elise first hit the scene, saw her in the Denzel movie, and then of course she did T.D. Jakes' "Woman Thou Art Loosed," "Woman Thou Art Loosed," and plenty of other movies. She starred with Gregory Hines in the Bojangles Robinson movie, which we're going to be reviewing. Probably review this weekend on #TFR Podcast Live. It was pretty good. It was a biopic, really a biography brought to life. But anyway, when I first saw her, I said she looks so similar to Cicely Tyson, and I swore that she was the replacement, because you know Hollywood has replacements for people, right? Like you'll see different people, and you'll say, you know, they look kind of like such person. Like Brad Pitt kind of looked like Clark Gable, right? And so you would see Clark Gable. Brad Pitt has a little black in him. Clark Gable had a little black in him. But anyway, that's another story for another time. But you see people, you say, oh, these are the replacements. You probably didn't know that, did you? You need to do some research. But anyway, tall, dark, and handsome. But anyway, look. So you see replacements, and they have replacements. It's just that Cicely Tyson went for so long, and it was a blessing because she had all her faculties. And I'm still trying to figure out, though. This is what got us in trouble last evening, if you call that trouble, right? Yesterday. But I'm still trying to figure out, did she take the experimental agent? Did she take the experimental agent because she was working with her new book? But anyway, this person who did this meme is true indeed. Kimberly Elise is the only person that should portray Cicely Tyson, because their look is so similar. Their look is so similar. What do you have to say to that?
That, I mean, it's uncanny, with the exception of the slight overbite. The nose are the same. The nose is the same. The cheekbones are the same. The intensity in the eyes are the same. And definitely Kimberly Elise has, she has shown herself as a versatile actress. She can do many different roles, And she is, I mean, she's one of the more gifted ones to come along during our time. And definitely, if they pick anybody else, if they ask anybody else, there is something definitely wrong. There's something definitely wrong. She has to be it.
This is true, and you can use a prosthetic and put the overbite in. That's no problem. Okay, let's keep moving forward here. This one comes from Dr. Boyce Watkins. Tracy Latrice says, I agree. Right? Tracy Latrice says, I agree. So let's see what Dr. Boyce Watkins has to say. No disrespect to all of the prominent people working to reduce black skepticism of the vaccine. But my question is, many black people have been poor, dying, and struggling for decades. Are you equally diligent about fighting for our reparations? I mean, we're just trying to see like where your head is at. Like, everybody is fighting for the black. Why are people fighting so hard for black people to take this vaccine? Like, what is the big hubbub about black people taking this vaccine? What's the deal, yo? What's the deal, yo? And without further ado, we have a video presentation because we have quite a few today because we had to pick up for the ones that they tried to us off on yesterday, but it's okay because we're here today. All right? Just check one thing.
Let me speak on that one real quick.
Bring it up real quick. Okay, let's see. And go ahead.
When I look at, I like Boyce Watkins because I like it. He's extremely intelligent and he has some subtle sarcasm that makes me laugh. So he's right. Are you equally as diligent about fighting for reparations? No, the answer is no. Those same people will tell you not to rock the boat on the reparations issue while they fight for the vaccine. I'm going to tell you what it is. Remember years ago when y'all saw the advertisement, pork the other white meat, and when y'all see the advertisement, remember it went up for green beans? It was green beans, a big billboard with just green beans across the highway in the city. You sitting at the traffic light, big billboard with green beans, and y'all go out and buy them. If you've heard D say it before, that we have been, Generation X have been victims of a social experiment or some type of experiment. I think it's multiple experimentation. These people who do not think soundly and fight against something that does not make sense to those of us who are awakened from our sleep, but they won't fight for the things that they should be. These are the people who subscribe to every commercial and took everything is in the food. It's in the diet. We're going to be talking about that later, but it's in the food. It is in the food. There's a growing theme, or not a growing theme, a running theme between food and consciousness.
I wish I was an Oscar Mayer wiener. Do you?
Because everyone would be in love with me.
That's right. Do you wish that you were an Oscar Mayer wiener? Hey, Life cereal. He won't eat it. He eats everything. Let's get Mikey. He won't eat it. He'll eat everything. And now they got the new Mikey, right? Now, the whole point of Life cereal back then was that it was bland. It was just one taste. Now, they got chocolate Mikey, and they got a little girl sitting down there being Mikey. Let's get Mikey. She won't eat it. She eats everything. And boy, she is sitting there eating that chocolate Life cereal, but it was supposed to be a brand that was healthy for you. Now it's got chocolate on it, and she was eating that till she gonna snit that out. Let's get Mikey. You don't want to mess with Mother Nature. Margarine. Margarine's not even on the market anymore. They got the. Or is it? No, it's not on the market anymore. They got all these other substitutes. They don't call them margarine, but people used to buy and eat margarine like going away. You don't want to mess with Mother Nature. You remember those commercials? All of these commercials.
It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. But you know what? They have this vegetable.
You would have that Caucasian woman up there being Mother Nature. Now, Mother Nature is supposed to be God. I wouldn't. My God didn't look like that. I don't know. What'd you say?
You know, they have this. What it is it's not margarine. They'll have a small section of margarine, but it's vegetable oil sticks, butter flavored vegetable oil sticks for less than $1 for 4 sticks in a pack. You're gonna eat straight chemicals and grease.
You know, did people know that Crisco used to be candle wax? But anyway, that's another story for another time. Now, I know you're going to look at the image that's up here that we're getting ready to play, and you're going to say, wait a minute, that is that no good Laura Ingraham, or the way they pronounce it, Laura Ingram, and she was telling LeBron James to just shoot and shut up and dribble, right? And you're going to say, oh my God, why are you playing that? Because you have to watch other broadcasts than the ones that are feeding you something. Now, speaking of reparations, or speaking of how people are pushing so hard for you to take the vaccine, how many people have blood on their hands because the media, the news media, quote unquote, the certain powers that be had it out for 45, and when he mentioned this term hydrochloroquine, all of a sudden everybody said, oh no, that's not true, Dr. Fauci. How many people have death on their hands, and the media will not go back on this? Or what if they do? How many of those 400,000 could have been spared if they had had therapeutics ahead of time? So we're not wasting any more time. Let's listen to this real quick. And then we're going to stop in between. You know how we do. Let's go.
Speaking of Dr. Fauci, Biden's COVID point man is using his latest media blitz to continue dismissing the now well-documented benefits of a drug we first told you about nearly a year ago.
Detroit State Representative Karen Whitsitt is at home recovering from COVID-19 and credits a highly debated drug for saving her. Mara McDonald spoke with Representative Whitsitt tonight. First off, Mara, how's she feeling now?
So I talked to Representative Whitsitt and I asked her the same thing. I'm like, how are you feeling? And she says, amazing. And I said, okay, as in amazing and 100%? And she said, no, amazing considering how I felt. She told me she thinks it's going to be a couple weeks before she's back to her normal self.
State Representative Karen Whitsitt found out she had the virus the day her friend and colleague Isaac Robinson died from it. She has underlying health issues and was going downhill fast.
Now, so the story is set up, right? Now, how many remember Whitsitt, the Michigan state representative, right? How many remember that, or how many of you don't remember it because the media buried her as if she did not exist? Now, this is a Democrat now, Whitsitt, right? From Michigan. She's the Michigan representative in the state Senate, right? Or the state house, representative. She was totally wiped out of the history annals because it did not go along with the narrative that they were preaching and teaching. So What about Don Lemon, hydrochloroquine, talking about hydrochloroquine, nothing. What about him? What about Anderson Cooper? What about the other Cuomo, the other white meat? What about what about Joy Ann Reid? What about Rachel Maddow? What about all these other people? Chris Hayes, all these other people who went against this because it's a therapeutic, and there are people who are getting therapeutics every day who are going home, but they are not telling the truth to the people. They're not even mentioning it, and it is a disgrace that you can get a therapeutic and you can, if you're early with it, if you catch it early, right? Now we're going to go through it, but there are studies where people who are in full-blown virus will die if they use hydrochloroquine, and the other therapeutics that they're going to mention. But if you catch it early onset, then it relieves the symptoms and the people go home alive. But because it was politics and the media put out there that Trump had stock in this particular drug, they banned it. How many people have people's 400,000 plus deaths on their hand when they could have used something that was already, it was a malaria drug, so it wasn't something that would harm you. It's already been proven over time. It just so happened to have the ability to fix this as well as be a malaria drug. So let's continue on. Because it's Tasty Tuesday, Undoubtable Facts. These are facts. Smash your share button, smash your like button, tag 5 people in this. Let people know that we are on it. We are talking about this. This is very, very important. Let's continue on.
And I thank God that the President of the United States mentioned that drug, because it did save me.
That drug is hydroxychloroquine, which is undergoing trials at Henry Ford.
There were things that were said, be it regarding things like hydroxychloroquine, and they were not based on scientific fact. If you look at the pushback that I got about hydroxychloroquine, was one of the reasons why I felt it was essential for me to, not in a confrontative way, I took no great pleasure out of contradicting the president, but I had to get up just to maintain my own integrity.
Stop that. So, we're fair and we show both sides. So that's Dr. Fauci. He's exhibiting a little hubris. And when this takes a turn for not the best, he's going to be out there because he got in front of the media and he was trying to be the straight man at first, but then it appeared to me that he became the jokester and the clown. He saw what they wanted and he went after it and started to down the previous administration 45. Now, what people don't seem to understand about science, which makes them, in my opinion, kind of dense, is science is a constant, unproven fact that comes with hypothesis, educated guess. This will probably happen because this has happened before. So when he sits up and says that studies have not come out yet to say that hydrochloroquine is something that can save lives, he's talking in the scientific world, in the scientist world, those people who take years and years to argue a point and put it in medical journals and hypothetical journals, I like to call them, because medicine and science is constantly being disproven with new facts, right? But undoubtable facts, right? There were no studies. If we're waiting on studies, if we had waited on studies, then people wouldn't be taking this experimental agent. So depending on how you're looking at it, this guy is talking out of both sides of his face, because on one side, the unproven experimental agent, they want everybody to inject that into your muscle. Whereas hydrochloroquine is a proven therapeutic for malaria, which means that it is, if anything, it will be harmless in doses. And there are people who have taken it when they had onset, like this representative, Michigan State House representative, who took it when they had onset, early onset virus, right? Complications of the virus. She took it, she was sorry, but they call those just anecdotal. They call that anecdotal. That's not something that has been studied. But look here. If I'm looking to live on, I don't want something stopped just because the scientists have not wrote scientific journals on it yet. Years and years of scientific journals. So let's listen to what the representative said. You know, they wiped her from history, right? They wiped her from history to get at Trump, but really, don't they have blood on their hands? Of course they do. What's going on with Stu? Good morning, Stu. What's going on to Carla Russell? I see that both are watching us this morning, right? Listen. So let's continue here. So we're talking about hydrochloroquine. How many of the talking heads on TV have blood on their hands? 400,000. Because this is undoubtable facts. You can have truth. Truth can be changed. People can manipulate truth, but undoubtable facts is what we're talking about. So let's listen to this representative again. Now, this is what happened to her, and there have been others, but they have wiped them from out of the media altogether.
I was filling up with fluid, my lungs, my breathing being labored. I felt if I didn't get that medication, it was either the medication or die.
So you thought you were going to die?
I honestly felt I was going to die. And like I tell people, I'm telling my story. I'm telling my truth. I'm not telling anyone else's story. I'm not telling anyone else what to do. I'm telling my story and my truth. And this is how I feel. And these are my words.
It's hard to come by because of an executive order out of Lansing. Whitsett pushed and pushed and got it.
I mean, let's just put politics aside. Right now, let's just be human beings and put politics aside. And let me just say that the person who's in office right now, the President of the United States, I give credit where credit is due.
She is now recovering, and the president gave her a tweet tonight that said she fears for the rest of Detroit.
But a new volume of the American Journal of Medicine includes a study showing the clear benefits of the early use of hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID. Joining us now is one of the study's co-authors, Dr. Harvey Risch of the Yale School of Public Health, and Dr. Scott Jensen, a physician and former Minnesota State Senator. Dr. Risch, tell us about this study and your response to the almost obsessive effort on the part of Anthony Fauci and others in the medical establishment to discredit the drug.
Okay, so let's stop that real quick. So there's a study out, huh? How about that? Took a little while, but there is a study out. You mean to tell me that 400,000 plus people had to pass because they weren't going to give this therapeutic, because the media said that Trump had stock in it, and so everybody went to halting it all around the government. The various governments in different states went to halting the prescription of it for people who had COVID-19. Now look, I'm going to say it again. There are people who have had treatments outside of the COVID, outside the experimental agent, right? who have lived through this, who have taken the very same thing that President Trump talked about, right? And they're going to mention some of these things in this study. So now there's finally a study out. It took a year to get a study out. Meanwhile, 400,000 people have died, and they're constantly pushing for American black people to take the vaccine, but they're not pushing those same prominent people in the black community are not pushing hard for our reparations. All right? So let's continue on with this. I know you say that this is Laura Ingraham and she's this and that and this, right? Before we go on, I see that Stu wrote, I have been seeing commercials recently for people to take the virus test trials. You can get paid over $1,000. One of my elder cousins did some test trials back in the day for some medicine, and in the end, it ended up messing up his mind. Let's continue on. Hydrochloroquine used for malaria, right? Used for malaria, not something that is harmful to. It's been used for years. Oh, they're clipping us now.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Yes. So let's continue on.
Oh, good to talk to you. I really wish Dr. Fauci would actually say something in terms of evidence, but since he never quotes any actual studies, it's really hard to know that he has any evidence to actually talk about.
He never quotes any studies, but the media took him hook, line, and sinker to go against Donald Trump, 45. Everybody was enchanted to believe that this man right here, Dr. Anthony Fauci, knew something, but we talked about it early on hashtag TFR Podcast Live on our early episodes, episode 104 when we started, 104 through 108 of hashtag TFR Podcast Live. You can hear it on Google Podcasts. Just go to Google, type hashtag you found the spot, click the podcast, you'll be right there. You just go to the search engine and search episode 104, and 104 through 108 will come up, and you can binge listen to those on Google Podcasts. We laid it out explicitly, and we talked about how Dr. Fauci said, wear a mask. You don't need to wear a mask, but then he came back and said you need to wear a mask. So this man is not infallible. He is fallible. Right? And that hubris that he has now because he wants to, my opinion, he's a short man and he has the short man complex and he wants to be important. And so that hubris is going to catch up. We're just going to see if the media will be man enough and woman enough to stand up when that time comes, when the hubris has caught up to Dr. Anthony Fauci, and if they will be man or woman enough to stand in and say we were wrong and we contributed to 400,000 deaths when early onset of the virus could have been cured with hydrochloroquine. Let's continue on.
He's very dismissive, but he never actually says anything. The study that we published, Dr. McCullough and 50-plus co-authors published, is a review of all the evidence for early treatment as a whole. It's not just one drug. It's not just hydroxychloroquine. There's many drugs that can be used. As we've seen this week, colchicine is another drug that can be used, favipiravir, ivermectin. There's a whole now repertoire, armamentarium of drugs that work in early treatment.
Then when did you start getting the hydroxy, and then what happened after that?
Now, this is the representative, right? Now, she is a Democrat. What's up to TC Congress? He says, good day to you both and all. Good day to you too, TC Congress. Listen, this is the representative, right? She is a Democrat. The Michigan state representative, right? And she is going to tell her story, right? They erased her from history, but if you were really watching and you weren't enchanted by the constant repeat of they kept chanting a certain thing to you and you believed it, and you believed that voting for a white supremacist would end racism in the white, get the one racist out and put a white supremacist in. You thought that by voting for Lucifer that it would end Satan, but it's actually the same demon. Now let's continue on. Let's continue on. And she tells her story. Do you even know this woman, right? Whitsett, Karen Whitsett, Democratic state lawmaker, right? Michigan. Do you even know this woman? Did you even know that she existed? We talked about her early on hashtag TFR Podcast Live also. But we have to bring it back up because people don't remember history just yesterday, modern history. People don't know what happened in the 1970s like they don't know what just happened yesterday. Let's continue on.
I did not receive it until the day I actually got tested for COVID-19, and that was March 31st. And I just plummeted that day. I mean, I went from 0 to 100 in a time, and it went from the headaches to being extremely severe to fluid building up in my lungs to sweats breaking out, the cough, my breathing being labored. It all happened in a matter of hours, and I really didn't have any time between my husband and myself, Jason, to make a decision on whether do I go to the hospital, which I honestly did not want to do. And that has nothing to do with the care that I thought I would receive there or the first responders or the nurses that are there. It had nothing to do with them. It's the fact that the hospitals were full near my area. And that I honestly believe that once I got into something like that, I may not actually come out. And that was my biggest fear. And I knew that this medication would possibly save me.
And Representative Whitsett, you didn't know about it until you heard it in the president's briefing?
I knew about it previously because I do have chronic Lyme disease. And so, but it was not something that unless the president had mentioned it, that it would be accessible. If President Trump had not talked about this, it would not be something that's accessible for anyone to be able to get that right now. It would not even be possible. And I mean that honestly, because I did have a difficult time even that day obtaining the medication because of an order that was put down in my state.
So your state was one of the states that said, nix the prescriptions of hydroxychloroquine. We saw that with a number of states, and your state was also one of them.
That day.
How many governors, how many senators, state senators, how many state representatives, because they were going against 45, have blood on their hands, have deaths on their soul? How many? 400,000 plus dead. They're listening to a person, Anthony Fauci. We broke that down so long ago. We talked about coronaviruses, where they come from. They come from the animals. We talked about Leviticus chapter 11, what to eat and what not to eat, and it pretty much fell along those lines, that this was taken and it was changed into a hybrid of that coronavirus, something that they thought could not be stopped. They made something they thought could not be stopped, and a therapeutic called hydrochloroquine right at the top of people catching this virus could stop them from dying. How many TV personalities, because that's what they are, they're not reporters, they're talking heads and TV personalities. How many TV personalities have blood on their hands? And how are they going to spin this when these stories come? Oh, we didn't know, these studies weren't out. No, you helped to kill 400,000 people. You helped to murder up 400,000 people. You helped the people who a lot of people believe that it's population control. You assisted them because you didn't like the person that was in office. We didn't vote for either one because I wasn't voting for racist one, wasn't voting for racist two. But the point is, right is right and wrong is wrong, and this is dead wrong when you had something that could save people. If it was caught early on, it is wrong. It is more than wrong. It is evil. And more than that, this enchantment that they had on people was demonic. It's demonic to kill people up when you know that you have something. And I bet you if those reporters and those talking heads and those various entertainment personalities that are not reporters or newscasters, but entertainment personalities, if they caught it, they secretly went and got this. If Cuomo 1 or Cuomo 2, the second white meat, caught it, they went and got it. Governor Cuomo, Trump, see, do people remember? Trump brought the warship, the medical ship, parked it out there in the Hudson. He redesigned the public, I'm gonna call it a public hall, the Jaffe Center, wherever they call it in New York, where the public events are. Fashioned it with beds, had it set up, had it sterilized for patients who were suffering from the virus. And what did Cuomo do? He sent the people who had the virus back into the old people's homes. Now, this has been going on for a whole year. You didn't hear about it. It's just now coming up. It's like we heard about it way back when he was doing it because we're sitting on TV. Trump has refashioned this, got the doctors, brought in a medical ship that was ready to take in the COVID. They said, well, we didn't have as many COVID patients as we thought because they put them in the retirement home, in the skilled facilities with old people. Meanwhile, Dr. Fauci said, don't have him over Cuomo 2's, the second white meat's house. Have him over your house because he has young daughters that coming in and out, and it would be bad for your mother, his mother. His children's grandmother were at his house. His grandmother was at his house, but he let other people's grandmother, mother, aunt, niece die and because they put COVID patients in with them. That is more than wrong. That enchantment, those words, that chanting that you got was demonic. That is demonic. And something is going on with Governor Cuomo. He's not quite all there anymore. And they're getting ready to give him an award and he's got a book, but something's not quite there when you listen to him. Because first he was praising Trump for what he did, but then he had to follow what the demonic Democrats, they're no longer Dixiecrats. They don't even get to have that title. They are demonic Democrats. 213-943-3358. Call me up. Show me that I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Come on. 213-943-3358. All of you Biden, black Biden supporters, any type of supporters, come on, call on up and prove me wrong. It is demonic Democrats to put people, COVID-19 patients in with old people in skilled facilities, and the old people die. But your mother, your children's grandmother were safe. It was safe at your house at the instruction of Dr. Fauci. That's demonic. Just to get at Trump, to try to blame Trump. When Trump had the boats out there and had the Javits Center redesigned and sterilized because he loved his home city. Cuomo didn't love the home city too much, did he? Not really. It doesn't appear. Now, these are just observations and opinions, but if you were watching these stories that are coming up about Cuomo now, that was at the beginning when the boat came in and the Javits Center was redone, but all you heard was the enchanting chant of the demonic Democrats, and you voted because you were affected by the demons, and you just have to face that. You just have to face it now. You just can't turn away from it. You can say, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but when you sit down in your solitude, in your quiet time, and you think back on what we say on this show today, you will say, that's true indeed. Let's continue on.
Yes, and it was on that day. So you can imagine how terrified I was that, I had to really beg and plead and go through a whole lot to try to get the medication. And my husband was able to pick that prescription up that night, and I was better within a couple of hours.
And we combined them in order to get maximal benefit. And that's how we treat early COVID, and it works very well.
And Dr. Jensen, whether it's hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin, the drug NAC, the whole series of these therapeutics that Dr. Risch is talking about, what's going on here? Like, what happened to medicine being an accumulation of data and an analysis of data? I'm not a doctor, but I've gotten to know Dr. Risch and many practicing physicians, and they're like, Laura, this is the most disturbing development we've seen, is the seeming politicization of medicine.
Laura, you're spot on. This is going to be a dark chapter for medicine going forward, because if you go back to 1976 when Legionnaire's disease took place, we didn't have to wait to treat our patients and save their lives when it became evident that the normal antibiotics we might try weren't working. People were still dying. But when we stumbled across erythromycin as being the drug, we didn't have to have a Dr. Fauci say something or anything else. We went ahead and used it. And I would remind everybody that Dr. Fauci is not clinically seeing patients. And he didn't just contradict President Trump. He contradicted U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, because she'd been quite clear that when her husband received hydroxychloroquine when he had COVID, that she was grateful that he was going to be able to benefit from that. And she thought he did. And I think that's important.
And
Amy Klobuchar, but of course she wouldn't say that today because she has to follow the demonic Democrats' line of thinking, right? You have to follow the demonic Democrats' line of thinking. So you had one demon in there under the demonic Republicans, and you thought that you were going to vote in something different other than racism by voting in the white supremacists that the demonic Democrats had. And you believed that racism was over. You believe that racism is over. I got to show this now. I got to show this right now. See, them cutting the feed and the signal on us has made the show even better because, I am a craftsman at it. Now, this was Nigeria the day that they found out that Biden had won the election. Let's watch this right here. And matter of fact, this is a montage that I put together of different things starting from November, when did they decide? When did they select him for president? November 10th. Let's just say November 10th. November 4th was elected November 10th. So when they found out that Biden had won, and then this is a montage of different things that have happened since November 4th coming into the new year. So we're going to go through this. Of course, we're going to pause and stop and come back to different things. But this was Nigeria when they found out that Biden won. This is what the caption read anyway. It was like, wow. It seemed like what I saw. Boy, they're clipping us now. And this is what we saw all over in the United States. Move it in, move it out, shake it in, all about disco lady. I mean, the people were just dancing around like some black face and red lipstick. Anyway, check this out. This is what was happening in Nigeria, they said. Let me pause that. I need to back that up one more time. See, you make the shows better when you try to do the treasury, because I'm a DJ by nature, which means that rewind. You know, I can toast. Look at this. Are they happy now since the dark-skinned countries have been xenophobe by now South Africa, not Nigeria, but their South African brothers have been closed out because of this so-called new strain that came about, Brazil and the UK. Are they happy now? Let's listen to their drumming and their happiness again. They said that this is what happened. This was what was happening all around the United States too. I should have cut in the people doing the line dances all around and doing the line dances before, eating collard greens and ham hocks and cornbread and all that right here in the States, going along with them. But this is a good representative. Well, wait. What'd you say? What'd you say?
They celebrating by eating all the stuff that's going to kill you, that any drug that will help you is going to be blocked.
That's right. It's going to block the arteries. So look, let's go here. Let's go here again. So, this was just like, wow, like they were just partying. And, like some people believe that we actually come from Africa. So that dancing is not a stretch all over. Everybody was dancing and dancing. Let's listen. Let's look at it. I don't know what that sticking the booty out part on this little dance that they're doing here is. It's kind of awkward, but hey, they were partying. They said Biden's in office.
So I just got a notification on my phone. It's the FedEx guy, my security camera. And so I watch him come up. He's acting a little weird. And as he's leaving, I realize what's happening. And so this is that clip I want to show you.
I never thought anybody would take this for real.
Oh, you see it? We here. Corona Ubers Part 8. You see this spot right here? The Corona's gonna get in there. You hear me, sir?
Yeah. Can you fucking stop fucking around recording my shit, nigga?
I'm sorry about that.
The fuck? Yo, nigga, what the fuck?
All right, so as you see, the people are going bonkers and bananas with this, right? It started out with the dancing at the top. It was dancing all over the country. They said Biden, 40 plus executive orders in, and we can see now 40 executive orders in, and we can see now that maybe the party was a little premature because there's nothing about, but they made sure he cut off Brazil. A lot of Africans dropped off in Brazil. South Africa, a lot of Africans trying to be free in South Africa. And the UK, a lot of Africans over in the UK. And then, you know, that's kind of xenophobic, but I don't see any of the CBC or the civil rights leaders speaking up against it because they're trying to get their little handout. They're trying to get their little, my opinion, they're trying to get their little handout. Now, this next video that I'm backing up just a little bit, transforming here, is... All the assholes are in the world! I need help!
Right here, are you going to get off the aircraft or are you going to sit there and scream? I'm just asking. Because it's going to be your turn. I got to pee. I got to get off of here. Ma'am, I'm trying to...
Someone give me a car ride! Someone give me a ride! Someone give me a ride! I need a ride! I'm watching you attack her! Go out of here. Excuse me, I work here, ma'am. Well, all right? Get off the aircraft, please.
Okay. So the first woman, she wasn't wearing a mask and they wouldn't let her on the bus. So then she just flipped out into this white fragility thing and fell on her knees and said, "Baby, baby, 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 somebody give me a ride! Give me a ride!" Sounded like Sam Kinison. Remember Sam Kinison? And then the other woman, she's on there, she refuses to get off the airplane and she's acting like someone is attacking her because she wants to pass by to get off the airplane, and she starts screaming, and then the flight attendant says, look, you're here, I see you, you are actually attacking her. What is going on? What is going on? Now wait. Now maybe you did not see this. But Senator Schumer was laying out the reason why Donald Trump should be impeached the second time. Did you see this? Did you hear what he said? Well, we're going to play it for you right now. We're going to play it right now. And I'm going to ask you, where was his mind at? Because obviously it was not on his job. Maybe it was on something, on somebody. And it's probably what they call that envy of that right there, like envy of Trump. So let's play it and listen to what Chuck Schumer says. It's a lot of freakiness going on in the Senate and the House right now.
Make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
Kids in the cribs want dibs on the big man. Can he come out and slam a jam? I'm his number one fan, yes I am. All these kids realize that I'm the man. 6'3" and maybe a quarter of an inch bigger than last year, but still a unique figure. Rob Stringer, Doc, no dinky and hot dog know that I'm a man that was born to have a mic on next to me at all times, ready to kick a rhyme that'll get me out of financial bind. That's why when it comes to fans, I'm never mean. Kids on St. James between Gates and Green always says hello, cause I'm a modest fellow. Never try to play a superstar that's mellow, cause if these kids don't go buy our records, we'll be has-beens and plus naked. So we owe them to pull out your pen, sign an autograph, you might make a new friend. So just get your boys to bring the noise and just swing it. And party people in the house sing it.
Generation X, you know, showing those moves, you know what I mean? Using Chubb Rock, you know, in the back. Look, this is what's been happening. Just a brief, quick cut together, you know, just real quick and brief to cut together, let you know what's been going on since you know, the president was elected. But one more time, though, because, you know, we ended with dancing, and we have to show this one more time. This is what was happening in Nigeria when they found out that Biden was selected as president of the 46th president of the United States. I just got to tell you, I need to know what's going on. Boy, it's all a lot of things going on. Lot of things going on. Which brings us to, are we actually happy with what we are seeing right now? Smash the share button, smash the like button, because when you try to do things to ObservationsTFR on the hashtag You Found the Spot podcast, you know, it often comes back to derail your train track, because we are back again and we are here to show you the undoubtable facts. These are facts. Now, we talked about, when we were trying to show this last week, we talked about how she comes out and she automatically says in the first minute or so that she is an immigrant with people slavery. Then as this goes along, then all of a sudden it just kind of degrades down into ending up talking about protecting Asians from xenophobia because the virus coming from Wuhan, right? And if you haven't seen 76 Days, they blocked the episode we did talking about copyright claim. First time that's ever done. They just blocked it, didn't give us a chance to say that it was educational or anything. It's totally blocked it. If you haven't seen 76 Days, it plays out the same way. Make sure you see 76 Days. It talks about the first 76 days in Wuhan when the Chinese, the People's Republic of China government shut down Wuhan from traveling into China. Anyone traveling into China, but Wuhan could travel out of China to the United States. The province could travel out, but no one could travel in. They shut it down for 76 days, and it shows you what the hospitals are like. You want to know what the hospitals are like? They're not showing you in the United States. You'll see it right here with the outbreak. But this is Susan Rice. Susan Rice, not to be mixed up with Condoleezza Rice, though in my opinion, what is the difference? So let's play this real quick. This is the advanced racial equity or race equity, what we were talking about last week. This is what they were talking about the race equity. Did you see it? And of course, we're going to stop in between. So when she gets it, she says she's an immigrant. First, I said everything in this package, they mask it by saying American black people. She says African Americans. But then by the end, it's about every other immigrant group that they're trying to protect. The 11 million dreamers, the 90,000 refugees coming in, the 500,000 Indians that they had coming in. If you had gone and seen his plan on the internet, all you had to do was read. But you know what they say? Keep something away from a nigga, put it in a book, or put it on something that's educational on the internet, and the nigga won't read. And that's what happened. You didn't read, and you can't say that you're not a nigger because you surely didn't read. And so many people were telling you, we actually read it. We put up stills of it to let you see. You just totally ignored that. That was very niggardly of you. It showed no niggarditude. It showed niggardly niggardom. I'm just going to tell you, that's what it is. And this is why we're in the middle of this. And unfortunately, you can't deny it because you didn't care about your grandchildren, your great-grand, your legacy to even care. You don't even care about your family that much to even care about what the plight of black people are, because you are just some house and field niggas that sold out because you have the sense of a barn nigga. That's right. I said if your discretion is advised. If you feel something about it, feel something about that, but you were niggardly. Let's listen.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be back. Jen, thanks. The president has committed the whole of our government to advancing racial justice and equity for all Americans.